In the weeks that have gone by, there have been many reactions to the Colin Kaepernick situation. Of course, we're talking about Colin Kaepernick refusing to stand and observe the national anthem. First he sat, and then he knelt.
Yeah. His extreme and belligerent kneeling.
Yeah, extreme. It's volatile. So one reaction we're going to talk about is Congressman Steve King from Iowa. Now, Congressman King was on the Newsmax show, and this is hosted by Steve Malzberg. So they were speaking about this situation, and we're going to show you some clips of this interview. First, we want to talk about what the host, Steve Malzberg, had to say.
And the coach of the 49ers says that there's a constitutional right for these players to do this. And Congressman, no, there's not. Not on the field, not in uniform. For instance, the NFL wouldn't let the players who wanted to wear little 9/11 emblems on their shoes. They said, no, you'll be fined. And I can't sit here with my fist in the air in a form of protest over something while I do my show. I'd be fired. My boss would say, you can't do it. So why do you believe that the NFL is capitulating to this when there's no constitutional right of freedom of expression when you're in uniform and working, as a football player for a football team?
So this is why we wanted to start with Steve Malzberg, because what he did was set up a false scenario and argued with it. So this is your straw man argument right here.
Of course.
He talked about how the NFL is capitulating to these players that do not want to stand and observe the national anthem
because you don't have absolute freedom of speech on your job or
right.
while you're on your job, which is correct.
Yeah, which is correct.
And he compared it to him doing something
right.
or him expressing himself while he's doing his job and how that would be unacceptable. But see, his job is he's on television.
Yes, the two are totally different. See, Colin Kaepernick is a football player, and by him taking an inaction, because really Colin Kaepernick didn't do anything. Yeah, it was inaction. He chose not to do something, and this was not during his job either. The game hadn't even started.
That's the point. It's actually not when he's actually doing his job. No. It's not like he was just standing in the shotgun and just like the ball's supposed to be hyped and the ball gets hyped and it hits him in the chest and he's like, nah, son, power to the
taking
people.
a stand over here.
Taking a stand right here on the field, on my job. That's not what's going on.
Action. He chose not to observe something that most people have chosen to observe. But his job does not require that he does that. This Malzberg guy equated it to the NFL saying that players could not wear a 9/11 pin on their shoe. But see, that's because that would violate the dress code.
The uniform
code. Yeah.
There's been players who've been fined for other things too.
Wearing like different color socks or something like that, or whatever the case.
Like some sort of like they were just kind of like representing a charity.
Right.
And they were like, I don't care, I'll take the fine.
Yes, they'll take it. Yeah, that's happened all the time. But Colin Kaepernick didn't violate any rules. It's not a rule that he must stand and put his hand over his heart and sing the national anthem.
Malzberg said pretty much suggested there should be like a suspension on certain types of expression.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. Isn't putting your hand over your heart an expression?
Yeah, that's an expression.
First of all, that has nothing to do with football.
No, nothing.
So
at all.
the standing for the national anthem and putting your hand over your heart, that has nothing to do with football either. But you're okay with that,
right?
Also, remember Tim Tebow?
Yeah, I remember that.
He used his position as a football player to express himself.
Yeah.
Every time he scored a touchdown.
Tebowing. Yeah.
Not just it wasn't just a whole like bop 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 or like pointing up.
Right.
It was he created his own thing and people called it Tebowing.
Right.
That was expressing himself, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What did anybody say? Well, the NFL is promoting Jesus and Christianity. No.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't.
No. Nobody said that. Everybody was comfortable with it.
Everybody was comfortable
because it gave you the warm and fuzzies, But when somebody addresses something that may cause you to be uncomfortable, well, then now you have to take a position against it. This guy knows he's a news guy. So if he's on air doing this when he's supposed to do the news, Well, that kind of conflicts with what your job is. But by Colin Kaepernick being on the sideline before the game starts and just refusing to stand for the national anthem, which no NFL rule mandates him to do, sorry, you've created a whole false situation that you disagree with. But let's get to the congressman's statements now. Now, prepare yourself. He's going to throw you.
Well, Steve, I just think of it, if somebody's working for me and they represent me, that's the same scenario, legal scenario that they have on a football team. And you go out there, if somebody went out there and said, I'm going to, in my spare time, I'm going to promote abortion and same-sex marriage and eroding the Constitution of the United States and promote socialism, they'd be gone in the first minute they opened their mouth on that. I would fire them, and they all know that. So, I think Colin Kaepernick is representing the San Francisco 49ers when he puts on that uniform, when he steps out on the stage, the world stage. He's taken advantage of that, and he's undermining patriotism. I understand that he has an Islamic girlfriend that is his fiance, and that this has changed him. He's taken on some different political views along the way. This is activism that's sympathetic to ISIS. And for me, if I'm the coach, I would say, you're done. Until you take a knee and beg forgiveness from the American people, you're not going to set foot out on this field again.
I told you. I told you to prepare yourself. He said some real dumb shit.
He's making it sound like Colin Kaepernick is like introducing himself like, "Hi, I'm Colin Kaepernick, and I work for the San Francisco 49ers. I play football for that organization, and I like slapping bitches." You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? And the 49ers organization approves of that.
Right.
Or it's like, I like sleeping with underage girls, and the 49ers approve. Or I love abortion, and the 49ers approve. You know
he made a statement because the media chose to cover him. It was only a statement because the media chose to cover him. He didn't do anything. Okay, he actually did not do anything. But again, it's so uncomfortable to people like Steve King because what he say? It's undermining patriotism. So that makes him very uncomfortable because his brand of patriotism, you can't undermine that and get away with it. Not while you're wearing a uniform.
No, see what people like Steve King do is they like to take their view of America, right, and call that patriotism,
right?
Whatever that is. Mm-hmm. So if you say something that kind of, I guess, contradicts that view, then you're unpatriotic. Right. So they then project their view onto like the entire idea of what they think America should be, and like what they think America should be for everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So if you call into question anything that has to do with America, maybe our politics, our foreign strategy, anything like that, you might be disrespecting the troops.
Not only that,
you're not patriotic.
Not only that, like essentially, Colin Kaepernick is unhappy with something that's going on in the United States.
Domestically.
Okay, domestically, that's fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he's comparing him to what? What did he compare him to? Oh, I guess because Colin Kaepernick is unhappy about something in America, and then ISIS is unhappy with America. Therefore, Colin Kaepernick is like ISIS. Oh, plus he has an Islamic girlfriend.
What does ISIS have to do with, say,
police brutality?
Police brutality and, killing unarmed Americans and, like mass incarceration. What does ISIS have to do with that? It doesn't really have anything to do with that. That's why Colin Kaepernick isn't talking about ISIS. He's talking about what's going on here and our policies here. This is just uncomfortable for people to get a hold of, because this whole practice of standing for the pledge and standing for the national anthem and putting your hand right here, it's been glued to like our schools. It's been glued to sports.
And what does that even have to do with sports?
It doesn't have
what's so
anything
funny?
to do with it.
And all these so-called patriotic people have been played. You've been played. The NFL has played you.
Not just the NFL either.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All sports.
Sports.
The NBA.
But I'm just saying the NFL
everybody.
Because they proved that the NFL,
right.
They
but
paid. Because they paid.
Yes. Yeah, they did. But they're giving it back. Yeah, they're giving it back. That's what they said. The NFL is giving back that money they took.
That they took from the military?
Yeah.
Oh, think about this. That was a perfect marketing strategy.
Yes.
To associate your product, which is football or basketball, anything, with patriotism, where people are so emotionally attached. Right. And they played you because they used your tax dollars to connect you to it.
Right. And there's a large following of our national sports, right? There's millions of eyes on these sporting events every single week, especially on football. Every Sunday, it's the biggest sport in America, right? Millions of people watch these sporting events, and what do they see right at the beginning? That national anthem. And look, you know what? I was watching football Sunday night, and Jordan Sparks sang the national anthem. And I'm telling you, I can't even hear that national anthem the same way anymore. Now, when I was young growing up, I didn't believe in what the national anthem was saying just because I was aware of what was going on in the country. You know, I was informed as a kid. So I was aware of what was going on. So it didn't really ring true to me, like justice for all. I was like, no, I know that not to be true. That's never really been true. But to know now, because I didn't. Honestly, I did not know. But to know now what the history of the anthem is, to hear the words, and like for the words to enter my eardrum, like they don't go in the same way anymore. Like I can't even be appreciative of anybody singing it now. To know where that song came from does not say patriotism.
If your patriotism is legitimate and like essentially promotes what you feel is good for this country, you wouldn't have to shove it down people's throats.
Right. But see, you don't get to dictate how somebody is patriotic and how they exhibit that patriotism. And you don't get to do that. And to be
honest, Colin Kaepernick is more patriotic than you or anybody else who holds that view. Because essentially he was standing up for something that probably he knew a lot of people would be against.
He was standing up for freedom. For
freedom and justice.
Yeah.
Essentially. And you know what's so funny? It was like, y'all created this. Y'all created this because essentially the only reason why it, like, I guess the kneeling and the sitting down and the fists started going viral is because y'all came after him. This one dude started this.
One dude.
And y'all had to wake up the bear.
Yep.
And he started getting support.
Yeah.
And his jersey started selling. Y'all didn't expect that. Like I said, y'all started this.
See,
like it wouldn't have gotten widespread if there wasn't so much vitriol tossed at Colin Kaepernick, because all of that was just support.
They want the illusion of a democracy and of a free country, but with the reality of an authoritarian government. Kneel. Get down on your knees, Colin Kaepernick, and beg. And until you do that, you should not be allowed on another football field.
Wow, you can't even make money. You can't
even make money because your patriotism is not my brand of patriotism.
This mug didn't go out there saying, yo, I'm Colin Kaepernick, I play for the 49ers, and I hate all these bitches.